Good morning, everybody. So, core today. Um, so 4 exercises, sort of a mixture of equipment today. You guys know, leave out the ones you don't have equipment for, modify them, find something similar, right? So we're going to start with a tabletop hover with a reach. So this one doesn't feel that hard at first, but it's super additive. So I'm going to do 16 reps total, alternating sides. So I'm going to start up in sort of that traditional tabletop position, right? So the wrists are stacked underneath the elbows, underneath the shoulders, knees are stacked underneath the hips. You're going to tuck your toes under and lift your knees about an inch off the floor. So that's the hover. The core stays in that kind of plank rigidity. And then you're going to reach out one foot, bring the knee in, set it back down. Reach out the second foot, bring it in, set it back down. The whole time, trying not to shift the hips and trying not to have the knees come too far up off the floor. So keeping that core super rigid, keeping a little air in that cavity so you've got that rigidity. And that's about the time it starts to get a little challenging. Stick with it. And then maybe just hold that last little knee hover for a few seconds. And you should start to feel a little shake, a little quiver as it gets hard towards the end. So next exercise we're going to do is a wood chopper. So we did a wood chopper variation the very first week. We're going to come back to it, but we're going to do it with a dumbbell. So we did it with a band last time, dumbbell today, but you can use any sort of weight. You can even use no weight. If you use no weight, you can use the yoga block, right? Squeeze between your hands. I can squeeze between your hands. Something to sort of reach up and over. Does not have to be a dumbbell. Dumbbell just makes it a little bit more challenging. So you're going to set up in that split squat stance, right? Up high on that back toe. Knee lined up over the ankle. You're going to reach that hip, that back glute. Squeeze it so the hips stay even, right? No movement through the lower body. You can start with the weight on the kind of inside of that back leg to start. Shoulders stay back and down. Reach up and over and come back. Really trying to keep the legs still as you reach. And thinking about that rotation up and over. If holding the dumbbell gives you any sort of tweakiness in your shoulders, ditch it and just work on the twist, right? You should sort of feel it sort of wrapping around as you lift up, over, come back down. And all that rotation should come kind of through that mid back, right? Not down super low, right? So you don't want the hips to rotate over. And then flip sides. So same thing, second side, right? Up high on that back toe, get that glute squeezing forward, drop down. So the leg portion has a little bit of challenge in it too. And then reach up and over. So connect, brace, reach up and over, down with control. Brace. So 8 to 10 on each side. Staying in control of the movement. If you connect your gaze to whatever you're lifting, you'll have a little bit more of a balance component. And for me personally, like a little bit more connection to that midsection. All right. Next exercise, I'm going to do on the stability ball. So Nice on the stability ball because you can kind of roll one to one shoulder, but you could just as easily do this with your shoulders on a chair or on your sofa or whatever. A little hard to do all of this together, but you could do the reach part that we're going to do, hey Max, separately. So you're going to roll out, little space, a little bit more. All right. So you're going to start with your head and shoulders supported by the ball. Lock in the shoulders, keeping everything rigid and hips lifted. You're going to rotate to one side, squeeze back to the middle. Rotate to the other side, squeeze back to the middle. Then you're going to roll back on the ball and lift up to the ceiling. Come back down. Walk back out. Reset the shoulders. Down to the side, up to the middle. Down to the other side, up to the middle. Roll back on the ball. Reach up to the ceiling. Go back down. Walk back out. So each time you walk back out, make sure those glutes come up. Right? You got to keep your glutes a little bit squeezed so your hips stay even. And again, that rotation through that middle part of the back, through that thoracic spine. You don't want it up super high, you don't want it down super low. So any amount of weight, fine. No weight even, fine. You can just squeeze your palms together on this one. So 10 to 12 reps, right? Find a weight that's challenging. If you're not using any weight, then go ahead and just add a few more reps, right? So maybe you can do 15s of those. And when you get to that reach, you're really thinking about reaching and connecting all of these on that reach, right? Really trying to get connected here. And on that twist, you're really trying to connect to those obliques each time. So if you have to pause on one side before you come back up, sort of find muscles, do so. All right, last but not least, we're going to do a power press. Sorry. So we've all done this in the gym with the cable machine. I'm going to use a band. Hard to mimic this one without a resistance band, but throw in something else, right? You could do a plank variation on this. You could do a side plank. This is sort of an anti-rotation exercise, so that side plank would be a good substitute. All right, so you want a little bit of tension. You're going to step back so that when you extend your arms, you're at 90 degrees. You want to straighten the arms all the way. I'm going to do a 5-second hold and then pull my arms back in, right? So the goal here is to have the hips under you, this squeeze, so that you're not jutting the hip out to try and support the weight. And pull back in. So each time you pull out, you're really thinking about making this rigid, right? This side has to support the weight pulling you back in the other direction. Keep the shoulders back and down, right? Arms need to be straight to really feel it, right? You got a little bend in your arms and the energy is just going sort of elsewhere in the system. So try and keep the arms straight. And depending on how much tension you've put in the band, you may get 10 reps with a 5-second hold, you may be able to get 12. Obviously step up faster. If your back band's too light and you're not feeling anything, then you could double it up and do this. You should definitely feel this in your obliques and maybe down into the outside of those hips muscles, because those all have to stabilize and lock in too, right? But really we're trying to sort of work that anti-rotation, right? So not letting the weight pull you to the side. Okay. Did I do them all? Yeah, I did. 4 exercises, all core. Hope everybody is well. Stay safe out there. And I will see you guys tomorrow for, I'm not sure yet. We'll see what we're going to do on Thursday. Anyway, hope everybody's well. Talk to you soon. Bye. Hey, Max.